before we get into the actual chipping, I'm going to go over my new wedges I just got. So the wedges I have here are a 50 degree, a 56, and a 60 degree. I get those clubs because that's what's best for my gapping and distancing. Got some jet black SM10 wedges. My 60 degree is an S grind with 10 degrees of bounce. In my 60 degree, if you don't know what bounce is, see this 10 right here? It's backwards because it's the face camera, I think, but that 10 right there means it has 10 degrees of bounce. That means that when it's at 60 degrees, this is the angle. This is 10 degrees of bounce right here. This angle right here, from here to here, is 10 degrees, and that's what gives it the bounce angle. And what bounce does is the bigger the bounce, the more the club can literally bounce off the grass without interacting with the grass as much. Because if you don't have enough bounce and you try to hit a chip and the leading edge gets stuck in the ground, the club is just going to get stuck in the ground. But if you have a bounce there protecting the leading edge, it's going to be a more forgiving tool to chip with. And then we're able to hit, it's going to be very forgiving chips all the time because the club will just bounce off the ground and keep moving forward and still hit the ball with good contact. But I got 10 degrees of bounce for my new 60 because my old 60 had 15 degrees of bounce. So it's a very forgiving lob iron that I used to have. But this lob iron here is going to be a lot more workable, and I can put the ball up in the, I can launch it higher with more spin because there's not as much bounce in the way. I can get the club opened up and there's not too much here to where I can't hit a flop shot if I want to. So that's why I got 10 degrees of bounce with the 60 degree. Also, I got some Dynamic Gold Tour Issue S400 shafts, which are very stiff and heavy, and I got those because I swing the club pretty fast. And if you don't have a heavy enough shaft and you swing the club too fast, then you're not going to be able to make the ball do what you want to do because you can't make the club face do what you want to do because the shaft is too whippy. Next, we'll go over the 50 degree. 50 degree, I got 12 degrees of bounce. I use the 50 degree as 12 degrees of bounce, and that's a little bit more than the 60. And usually with the 52, I'm going to be hitting full shots from like 110 to 130 yards. So honestly, less bounce is better for full shots. But the reason I got 12 degrees of bounce on my 50 degree is because bounce is good out of the bunker. It makes the club slide through the sand easier. And sometimes with the 50 degree, with a longer bunker shot, I like to use the 50 degree so that I don't have to swing as hard. I don't have to, it's just like a normal bunker shot that I usually would play with my 56 degree, but it's gonna go further because it's only 50 degrees of loft. So that's why I got the 12 degree bounce with the 50, just so that I can use it for bunker play because loft or bounce is good for bunker play. Also, same shaft, same Tour Velvet grip. Then we move on to the 56. And the 56 is for full shots and chipping and everything. It's probably the most versatile wedge that I have. But it's going to be mainly used in the bunker, like around the greenside bunkers. Short, nippy bunker shots is what I'm going to be using this for a lot. And I have a 14 degree bounce on it. So, I won't be able to hit necessarily a lot of flop shots with it. And the reason I got 14 degrees of bounce on this club is for the bunkers, because this club is going to glide so easily through the sand. It's going to be a perfect club out of the bunker. And I'm gonna hit a lot of good shots with this club right here. Get up and down a lot from the bunker. Same shaft, same grip. It's a F grind, same type of Vokey that I used to have, but just newer for out of the bunker. And then my 50, 60 S grind, 50 F grind. So my 56 and my 50 are F grind. So yeah, I'm gonna use those out of the bunker. 60 I'm not gonna use out of the bunker just because I've never used a 60 out of the bunker. I only like it around the greens in grass or like shitty lies maybe. But yeah, I can't wait to use these wedges, and I don't know if I'm gonna film the how to chip video today. All right, hopefully you learned something about wedges and what different wedges can do around the greens. I have a 60-degree here. I teach you how to hit a simple chip shot just like this one. Now, the first mistake people make when hitting a chip shot is they sit up to it like this, like it's a normal golf shot. And this is not a normal golf shot. This is a chip. And so, how we sit up to a chip, and by the way, the more I play golf, the more I realize that setup is the most important part of almost every single shot. That being said, how we sit up to a chip is we bring our feet closer to the ball, we put our feet closer together, and we put the ball way in the back of our stance so we can hit a nice low shot that's going to be straight at our target. Also, we're going to put our hands up, putting the toe in the ground almost. This is the toe, this is the heel. We're going to put the toe in the ground, put our hands up like this. And when you're like this, it might feel awkward at first, but this is going to be super easy to hit this shot. All we have to do is pick a target out there. I have a little spot in the green that I'm trying to land the ball on. Good setup. Pick a target. Slightly rotate back, slightly rotate forward, and point our hands at our target. Okay, here I'm just giving you another angle of a chip shot so you can see it better and telling you a couple of things that might help you when you're chipping. So once again, feet closer to the ball in the back of our stance, and our feet close together, our hands up, toe in the ground. This is what it should look like from a face-on angle. This is what this angle is called, a face-on angle. The other angle back there was down the line. If you ever take videos of yourself golfing, they should be from down the line, which was that camera angle, or face-on, which is this camera angle. But yeah, here's a good chipping setup. In lesson number 1, I talked about how my putting backswing, the length of my backswing determines how far I'll hit a putt. For example, a short putt would be like that backswing, and a long putt would be like that backswing. I almost do the same thing for chipping. If I was hitting a 10-foot chip, I'd probably only have that big of a backswing, and if I was hitting a 40-yard chip, I'd probably have that big of a backswing. So just like putting, when you're chipping, the length of your backswing should determine how far you hit your shot. But it doesn't really determine it. It just is a good way. When you're chipping, the length of your backswing could help you hit the shot the distance that you want to. And just like putting, some shots aren't going to be dead straight. So let's move this ball to a spot where the shot, you can see this one is very straight. Let's move it over here somewhere where it's not as straight of a chip. All right, this is a good example here. This chip here, you can tell that it's going to be sloping. The green is sloping from this side over to there. So when this ball lands on the green, when this ball lands on the green, it's going to hit on the green. When this ball lands on the green, it's going to start breaking from left to right towards the pin. So when I'm hitting this chip shot, I don't want to hit it right at the pin. I want to hit it slightly left of the pin so that when it lands on the green, it will start fading right towards the hole. So once again, same setup, but now my target, that my landing area, is left of the hole, short and left of the hole. So my landing zone is short of the hole and left of the hole. I'm going to land it there, and it's going to roll out, and it's going to break to the right. Should end up near the hole. If the green was sloping this way from right to left, I would have done the exact opposite. I would have picked the landing area over there and hit my ball on that line, so when it hits the green, it'll roll left towards the hole. One thing I forgot to say during those clips is that on this chip right here, you don't want an open club face. The goal of this chip is not to hit it high in the air. The goal of this shot is not to do what I just did, a high, soft shot with a backspin. The goal of this shot is to produce a ball that starts low to the ground with a little bit of backspin and start towards your target. And so we can't have an open club face with this shot, because if we do that, the ball is going to go to the right. We all know that when we open our club face, the ball will start more right. So on this shot, we have to have a square club face. The leading edge has to be pointing towards our target. This line right here has to be pointing perpendicular to our target, towards our target. So once again, we have a closed club face, and we're not trying to lift the ball in the air. In fact, we're driving the ball down into the ground so that we can get it on the green as quick as possible and start it rolling towards the hole. We have a closed club face, and we're driving it towards the hole. The last thing I have for you about chipping is that chipping is not only for around the green. You can chip from anywhere on the course, especially in a place like this. There's an overhanging tree branch, so if we hit a normal wedge shot from here, it's going to go too high. It's going to hit that tree branch, and we won't be able to land it near the hole. In fact, if we hit a wedge here, it's going to hit that tree and go straight down. It's going to be a terrible shot. So instead, I have a 5-iron here, and I'm just going to hit a chip with the 5-iron. And because the 5-iron is such a strongly lofted club, has a lot more meat behind it, you might be thinking to yourself that we're too far away to chip the ball. But with a 5-iron, the ball goes a lot further. So a nice, easy chip shot with the 5-iron will run up right through this nice little pathway we have here. And once again, I'll go over setup because of how important it is. It's not a normal setup with the chip. We're going to get closer to the ball. We're going to put our feet closer together, the ball in the back of our stance, closed club face, and driving the ball into the ground, allowing it to roll up to the pin, essentially.